doozy for Buffalo in Week 8. The Bills get back in the win column thanks to a 40-9 victory against Carolina. Welcome into Bills Postgame Live. He's Hall of Famer Steve Tasker. I'm Maddy Glab. Buffalo's offense and defense worked together in this one. 3 takeaways by Buffalo's defense. The offense scores 17 points off of those takeaways. Steve, what did you love most about this game?
Well, the uptick in defensive production was huge. I mean, the play by Epenesa to get him to 19-3 in the first half was absolutely enormous. He didn't score on the play, but the next play, Josh rushes in. So the offense does get credit for the points for scoring 40, but you really got to tip your hat to the defense. 3 turnovers, 17 points off those turnovers. That should be enough to win almost any football game. And if they can continue to do that, obviously, we've seen it. The team scores 30 points every week, and things go on as planned. Continue to get nicked up on defense. Ed Oliver's going to go down. No telling. It looks like it's going to be a pretty bad injury. From the symptoms we've seen and it's been reported, it does not look good for Ed. However, Ogunjobi, Hoyt, Max Harrison got his first snaps of the season and got his feet wet. Shaq Thompson played well. Dorian Williams played well at linebacker. This was a really good defensive effort against a backup quarterback, but against a running game that was very formidable. The Bills acquitted themselves extremely well today on both sides of the ball.
The Panthers' rushing offense was averaging 193 yards per game since Week 8. Buffalo's defense allows just 114 rushing yards. That's a big stand by Buffalo's run defense, who struggled early on this season. Josh Allen only completes 12 passes, but the Bills put up 40 points.
Yeah,
and
that's amazing.
He got to sit at the end of the game. You want that as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Well, James Cook's really good. I mean, that just in. He is really good. 214 yards on the ground today. He absolutely carried the offense. The Panthers had no answer for him. The offensive line imposed their will. The tight ends got in on the act. Their heavy personnel was too much for Carolina today. And to his credit, Joe Brady said, well, let's just stick with it. And James Cook was the beneficiary of it. Ran all over the Panthers today. And I think for all we talked about Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard coming into this game, James Cook and the Bills' offensive line said, oh, yeah, hold my beer. And off they went for 214 yards for James Cook.
Dowdle and Hubbard combined for less than 100 rushing yards. James Cook, on the other hand, goes off for more than 200. Josh Allen had 3 total touchdowns on the day. He's on the podium right now. Let's hear what QB1 has to say.
The defense go out in bars, in great fashion. Care to talk about today's victory?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was complimentary. Obviously, Epenesa with the pick right before half, getting another 6. Nice little double dip there. James is playing outstanding right now. Our O-line's giving him a lot of holes, but he's just making some unbelievable cuts and outrunning people, and it's doing what James Cook does. Got to be better myself in that first half. I just felt like wasn't getting myself into a rhythm. I wasn't trusting my feet. I was forcing a couple things. A couple things just didn't go our way. So I got to be better in that aspect. But again, found a way to. I think we were pretty good on third downs today. Move the sticks, and I think still there's a lot to clean up, which is the exciting thing.
Josh, where would you guys be right now? I mean, obviously you've been doing well, but James has really carried your offense really for a little bit of time now. Just talk about the importance of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the efficiency that he's had, how many rushes did he have today? 19. I mean, he's playing outstanding. I think the more times we get the ball in his hands, the better that we're going to be. Same thing with 10 with Khalil. Just again getting the ball in his hands and letting him make some plays for us. But yeah, I mean, I love handing it off and getting to throw my hands up from 50 yards out.
What does it reference some of the struggles in the passing game there in the first half? Obviously, the score is the score, and it's lopsided in the second, so the stats kind of get skewed. But what is your concern level with moving the ball through the air there, particularly in the first 2 quarters?
Not concerned at all. I think if I can go back and change a couple things, trust my feet, get through my progressions, wouldn't even be talking about this. But yeah, I think it's an easy cleanup, and again, it's just trusting the guys out there, trusting my feet, and put the ball where it needs to be.
What do you mean when you say don't trust your feet? Can you maybe put that in layman's terms for somebody who's never?
Yeah, I mean, understanding the concept. If it's a 3-step or a 5-step, just trusting it, and again, just being a little more settled early on. Just again, first game back since the bye, just not trusting my feet a little bit and getting off things maybe a little too quickly, and just get back in the swing of things.
What causes that?
Again, a little hype, getting back on the football field, a little eagerness to go make a play. It just letting the game come to me and again, just trusting what's out there.
Why has this team been so good coming off the bye?
I think it's the way that our guys have handled it. I think obviously from the top, just making sure that we're practicing the right way. Obviously coming off 2 losses, it's been lingering with us. So I wanted to come out here and put our best foot forward, and I think tonight we did that.
Josh, do you feel, I know you're coming off a 2-game losing streak, any win's going to be a good win, but does it feel like this was kind of a get-right day for you guys as a team as a whole?
The way that we won, for sure. I think, again, the exciting part is that there is a lot to clean up and a lot to improve on, and really to be excited about where this team can go.
Josh, your defense's performance today, it kind of made it easy for you in some ways. You started to drive at the 1-yard line. Just their overall effort, what'd you think of it?
It was unbelievable. They felt like they had something to prove, going out there and forcing some turnovers, giving us a couple short fields. One, we didn't capitalize on it, but that one on the 1-yard line, obviously, Epenesa makes a great play, and that's the standard that we have for ourselves, and that's what we expect every time we step on the field.
Just talk about, again, the defense, the way you ran the ball, and you, no doubt, is an elite passer, right? But how does games like this turn you into an elite game manager?
When you got James Cook, just let him cook.
The success you guys had running the ball early, did you just notice the difference that it made in terms of keeping them off balance and opening things up for especially that first drive of the second half, the way Shakir was able to get open underneath?
Yeah, anytime you can run the ball that well, it's going to do things for your offense. Quick game, play action game, nakeds, and then we got to. That second half is how we feel like we should play. The first half, running the ball well, but wasn't to my standard in terms of how we want to attack it through the air. And again, a lot to learn on and improve on.
Josh, a little personal accolade, becoming the first NFL quarterback 46 games with a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, broke Cam Newton's record, who was obviously pretty big around here. What does that feel like?
It's cool. Just finding a way to win. That's all we're trying to do.
Josh, can you talk about, your big play with Khalil Shakur? What did you see coverage-wise and, made you make that play?
Yeah, they brought some pressure into a 5-man protection. We were sliding the other way, so typically in football, you want to throw it into the blitz because there's more room there. And then you see the great effort from 10. But if you go back and watch that play, Elijah Moore, he was coming from the other side, making a really key block, allowing Khalil to spring free. And that's the effort that, again, it's not going to get talked about in the box score, but, 18, Elijah Moore makes that play there. And I got to be better for 18. I missed him on a deep out earlier in the game. But for him to not care about that, to put his head down, go make an extra block for a guy, speaks a lot of the character that he has. Hey, guys.
Thanks, Josh.
Josh Allen, just 163 passing yards out of the MVP quarterback, something you don't see often. However, the Bills' rushing offense goes off for 245, so it makes sense. Allen was asked about the first half, struggling to connect with his wide receivers. He mentioned he needs to do better on his feet. What does the quarterback mean by that?
Well, when you throw the football, a lot of their power comes from the ground up, where their feet grip. That's why they wear cleats, so they can grip and torque their body with their feet. And if their feet are in the right position and he brings his shoulders through, there's a lot more power on the ball. When he's up on his toes or he doesn't have his feet set or one foot is off the ground when he throws and kind of slings it, it not only affects the velocity of the ball, it also really affects the accuracy. And that's what he's talking about. Some stuff he missed today where the ball wasn't quite on target and a couple of incompletions resulted in it. It's amazing that the Bills are good enough, or this game went in such a way that you could have 12 completed passes and win by 31.
Doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often, ever. 12 completed passes. That was the kind of box score like when Ben Roethlisberger was a rookie and they had Jerome Bettis and they didn't want Ben to have to throw the football because he didn't read defenses at the time and early in his career and he didn't see it really well. And that's the last time I can think of that happening. That's how long it's been, a couple of decades. 12 completed passes and you win by 31. You can do that when James Cook has 200-plus yards rushing, and Khalil Shakir is snapping off explosive plays, and your defense is getting 3 turnovers. That's the kind of game that happens. That's really complimentary football, and I don't know how you count on that happening, and you don't game plan for that. But that's indicative of when everything else is clicking. Your quarterback is, except for a couple of rushing touchdowns from 1 yard out, it was an easy day for Josh.
You referenced Jerome Bettis. The Bills don't have a Jerome Bettis, but they have a James Cook.
Yeah.
216 rushing yards, a career high for Cook, 2 rushing touchdowns. Why was he able to tee off against a top 10 run defense in the Carolina Panthers?
The Bills' offensive line got up on the Panthers front and pushed him off, got some gains. They got to the outside zone play, and then on the long run that he snapped off, they did a little bit of a pin and pull. Also, they got the fullback, Reggie Gilliam, was up inside.
Reggie.
He came up inside. There was a point in this game where he had 8 rushes for 80 yards. He was averaging 10 yards every time he touched the ball. And it was all about getting the defensive front on different levels and letting James Cook weave his way through. The pinch and pull, this is the play here that got him into the secondary for the 54-yard run. That was a play they hadn't run yet. They had been running the wide zone early in this game where they got up and he would pick his spot. And then they pulled off. I believe they pulled. I don't think it was Osiris. I think it was Brown. Spencer Brown came around the edge, pulled up inside along with Reggie Gilliam, and it was all there for him. They waited, played that card when they had the moment, and it snapped off a 54-yard touchdown. And really, that busted the game open.
James Cook, a man of many rushing yards today, a man of few words on the podium. Let's see if he had a few more words to say after this game.
Carrie, just care to talk about what your emotions like on having a big day?
First thing, I want to thank my O-line. You know, without them, I couldn't even run. So, you know, just thanking them guys for always having my back and, you know, just open up lanes for me to run.
Did you get a sense early on that you guys were going to have this kind of day on offense? It seemed like your first few carries were usual.
Yeah, that's what we hopped on all week, you know, just starting fast and, you know, setting our identity as a football team, and I feel like we did that early and often.
James, it looked like there was a pointed effort to get you out on the edges of the defense. A lot of pitch plays today. Was that kind of part of the plan, get you out on the edge?
I mean, we had a lot of, you know, schemes in the plan today. That just would work today, and, you know, we took advantage of it.
You mentioned identity, James. How would you just describe what this offensive identity wants to be this season?
Be whatever we want to be, you know, just on us. You know, we just got to keep that edge and keep working hard, like I said, and, you know, go back to work on Monday, a big one, and get to work.
Now, James, you got a unique running style. What would you attribute that running style that you have?
I would say smooth, you know, just being patient and, you know, just seeing it and hitting it.
How many times do you think you got hit today?
I feel like I could go again, so, you know, I don't feel like I got hit.
All right, so that being said, I mean, 19 carries. It felt like a game where you could have had more than that. Is it frustrating that they keep taking you out for 2-3 plays at a time?
I mean, no. You know, because I trust the guys that's behind me. You know, we all work together, so, you know, just can't be selfish. You got to let those guys eat. When my time comes, just take advantage of it.
You guys as an offense, what did it mean for the defense to get the stops that it did, especially now early on when you guys had to settle for a couple of field goals?
You know, like we said, they got the stops. We just got to take advantage of it and score touchdowns or points.
You had just the safety there on the 64-yarder. Were you thinking sideline all the way, or did you think about cutting it inside there on the last cut?
I was thinking touchdown.
What did Coach Brady see to call that counter? Because that was just a beautiful play call by Brady there.
I just think it was the defense that they was in. You know, they blitzed the corner off the edge, and I guess the whole defense just wiped out in the green grass.
What do you think of performance when you have both sides looking like this? Not only to get over the 2-game losing streak, but going into the Chiefs game to give the Chiefs something?
It could be real special, you know. it's on how we play. Like I said, and like I said, we're gonna get back to work on Monday. Get back to the attention to details, and work hard.
Did they show you anything different than that? On what you saw on film of these guys?
No, not no difference. They showed every look that we had watched on film, and it shows today.
You could feel that you could come back.
Yes,
so
sir.
you could cut back and make a big play.
Of course.
All right.
James, how much focus was there for this team? I mean, you lose two, you have the bye week, you have to sit around and think about it. I mean, what was kind of the feeling in the locker room and coming out today?
I mean, we all be ourselves. We've been here before. Coming off a bye week, it's just about how you turn it around and get better.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Cook's 216 rushing yards are the most by a Bill since 1976. That was O.J. Simpson who did it. Now, Cook said, I have a lot of smoothness to my game. I see it, I hit it. He described being patient as a running back. You see that with James Cook. He waits for the holes to open. How tough is that, though, to have to wait?
Well, I've said it before, when you're carrying the ball in, and it's been a long time since I did that, but when you carry the ball in an NFL game, you can feel the violence magnet. I mean, it's coming. So it's really difficult knowing that there's 11 guys over there that have crosshairs on you and trying to get you. You feel it. And so it's tough to be patient with that sense of urgency that defense has about getting you to the ground. And it's tough to be patient, trust the guys around you that something's going to give and show up, and today something was showing up for James Cook. He was patient at times, and then when he does see it, he has the ability to shift gears and get there in a hurry. I think the one thing I've seen from him as well is his ability to weave through. He runs like water running downhill.
I like that.
The gaps are there, and he rushes fast through there, and it's not like he has to jump cut or hop or any of that stuff. He runs like a slalom skier going 60 miles an hour. He just finds the gaps and keeps his speed moving fast. So he gets to top speed once he gets into the secondary. That 54-yard run, I can't remember what it was, 64-yard run that he had was really a thing of beauty. It was blocked perfectly.
Oh my gosh, Reggie
but
Gilliam
you could
hit that
see
block
him shift
perfectly.
gears, and once he got 15 yards deep, it was just a question of how long it was going to take him to do his front flip into the end zone. His style is really, and I think they built this run game. They've got a feel for how he runs up front, the offensive line, and there is something to that. Those guys, there's nuances to how they block and what they think about when they're engaged with a defender, about what James will do and what he wants to see and what I can show him as a blocker. And there's nuances to James knowing how to give the defense an idea of where he's going and then take it away from him and set his offensive line up too. All of that was working today. That's age-old stuff in football vernacular. People know, guys, I remember what it was like to do that. Thurman used to do it with our guys, and, you talk to all the old backs, they'll say, when I had that certain offensive line in there, it worked really well. James Cook is on a heater this first 2 months of the season, an absolute heater. Despite the 2 losses the Bills suffered, James Cook has been an absolute weapon this year, and today was probably the cherry on the cake of the first half of the season.
James Cook and the offensive line look like they're on the same page. I go back to last year. The running backs started going to offensive line meetings so that they could have better communication with each other. I asked James Cook about it, and he said, I know how they're going to block for me, so I'm able to see it better. You see that today with James Cook's 216 rushing yards. You're right. The way he cuts, the way he moves, it's so fluid, and he doesn't slow down at all when he's cutting either. Cook referenced that he was used on the edges more in this game. How could that help in games ahead for the Bills?
Well, when they know the 64-yarder was up inside,
right?
But when you're snapping off long runs up inside and then getting 10 yards a pop on the edge, that's a problem for defensive coordinators. It is going to help them. When they can go inside or outside, they can do the wide zone stretch, or they can do the pin and pull where you got guys blocking down and pull this guy over here and kicks everybody out, and James Cook runs through the crease. the versatility of the Bills' running game and their ability to execute it at a high level in whatever form it takes, it's crushing people right now. 40 points is plus you got Josh. I mean, the MVP's there, and everything inside of 4th and 2, you feel like it's 4-down territory. It's really going to serve them well. And not to get out ahead of ourselves, but this is, I think, the kind of plan that they would like to execute against a team like Kansas City in the coming week. Stay on the field, shorten the game, be efficient, be able to run the football. Don't give Pat Mahomes and Kelsey and all those guys 8 or 10 possessions. Get them 6 or 7 possessions for the game, or maybe 7 or 8 possessions for the game, and keep up with them that way, and you be efficient and hope that they have to get a little desperate and you can make a turnover or something. I think that's keeping the ball away from your opponent is pretty good offensive football and defensive football as well.
33-26 was what the time of possession looked like. Buffalo to Carolina. Buffalo obviously wins time of possession in this one. Buffalo's defense allows just 9 points to the Carolina Panthers. They had 3 takeaways and 7 sacks. A.J. Epenesa was in the mix there with that interception. Almost went for a pick six. So close to it. He's in the locker room right now.
Tell us about the play, and did you get a hard time for not getting in the end zone?
Yeah, so
Yes, he did.
yeah, yes, I did definitely. But it's a very unique key that I got from the offensive lineman. He kind of pass sets and then he takes off running. They don't really ever do that except on the screen. And we've repped that so many times. I would like to think it's become second nature now. And so just trying to get a hand up, tips and overthrows, we got to take them. And so that's just the philosophy, getting the ball back to our offense. I'd love to score that myself, and I wish I did. But giving the offense the ball back on the 1-yard line never hurts.
Who was the first guy giving you a hard time when you didn't score?
I think as soon as they were picking me up from the goal line, they're like, "You couldn't have scored that." I don't even know who it was, but I was inches, and so we're going to push for that next time.
What's it feeling like just getting back off 2-game losing streak off the bye?
Yeah, it's that bye was something I think we might have all needed a little reset, mental reset, physical reset, whatever it may have been, but. The whole thought process behind it was just coming back in the same stride, not losing a step just because we took some time off, and I think the guys did a good job of that today. Appreciate it.
It was the first game this season we saw Buffalo's defense with a multi-takeaway game coming off of bye weeks. Buffalo averages 2 takeaways per game since 2017. They grab 3 takeaways today. A.J. Epenesa, a part of that pack with that interception. Almost got it to the end zone at the 1-yard line, so Josh Allen follows it up with a rushing touchdown. I love what Epenesa said about when my teammates were pulling me off the ground, what they said was, "You couldn't have scored that."
Yeah, that's right. I thought he was going to get in. He didn't, but he's right. Giving the offense on the ball on the 1-yard line going in is never a bad thing. And the Bills' defense did run up against a quarterback today that struggled. Andy Dalton struggled all day. He missed some throws, made some throws. A couple of really good throws got called back by penalty. And if you're looking for something that the Bills can work on or clean up, it would still be the penalties. They still got penalized a little too much today. 7 penalties, maybe a little bit average or maybe slightly above average, but that's never a good thing. And the defense did. They took what they were supposed to do. They took advantage of mistakes that Carolina made. They forced turnovers. They got a lot of sacks for a quarterback who doesn't like to run around in the pocket.
Right.
And early in this game, their run defense showed up and let Carolina know Andy Dalton was going to have to beat him from the pocket, and he couldn't get it done.
Well, speaking of the defensive line, the fact that they had 7 sacks in this one, we had 2 new players a part of the defensive line against the Carolina Panthers. Defensive end Michael Hoyt, defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi returned from suspension. Hoyt, a forced fumble and 1.5 sacks. What did you make of his performance?
Really good. It was good to see him out there. He was active. He had a lot of energy. He got in on that sack with Deion Walker. It was just a really good series. There at the end of the first half, they did a really nice job giving Carolina no points coming out. They got the sack on the 3rd down with 11 seconds to go when the ball was snapped, and Carolina couldn't get their guys on the field. They actually got the kick away, but he missed it. But it was a schmozzle out there, and they didn't look good doing it. So they get a lot of points as well, not just for the pressure they put Andy Dalton into, the turnovers and the stopping the run the way they did, but also for taking advantage of what they did wrong. And I think that's as big a positive sign as anything.
Exactly. You want to see Buffalo's defense take advantage of what an offense can't get going, and Buffalo did take advantage of that today, allowing just 9 points and a few takeaways. Sean McDermott is now 9-0 off of bye weeks, a perfect record since becoming Buffalo's head coach in 2017. He's on the podium right now.
Okay, glory to God first and foremost. Great to get a win. Really thought the players and staff did a phenomenal job starting on Monday. And the process is the process, and the preparation piece had to be where it needed to be. And players did a phenomenal job, as I said. The coaches, the leadership group, phenomenal job getting out in front of our team and leading. And the preparation piece, as I said before, is why we got the results we got today. So. O-line and D-line, the run game obviously offensively, and then trying to take away their run game defensively to where it starts up front. James Cook, another big day. Doesn't happen without wide receivers, tight ends blocking down the field. Want to make sure I mention that and praise that part of our effort. Different attitude, different energy, finishing plays. Really was more how in terms of how we do things. So, and then the takeaways on defense were big. So. Good team effort, and the time is yours.
What's it like for you as a head coach who loves the run game to see your running back just biting off huge chunks like that?
Yeah, it's, I know the value of being a two-dimensional offense, and, I love the run game. I don't think I've ever said that. I do value physical football. And it starts up front, whether you're throwing it or you're running it. So I will say that I love physical football. So that's where the game starts, and our front did a great job today.
Do you love James Cook?
Yes, 200-plus yards. But there was an attitude that came with that, right? So he breaks through into the second level of the defense. You got wide receivers, tight ends blocking, and he's of this mindset. He's going. And that's, again, that's a collective mindset.
Do you have an update on Ed?
And I thought Coach Cromer did a phenomenal job dialing up the runs that he did and putting it together. Great job.
Update on Ed Oliver?
No, don't have anything at this point.
Sean, when did you make the decision that Max was going to be ready to play? What you've seen, what did you think of the way he performed?
Yeah, just through the week, it was just more of this would be ideal if we could get it there, but understanding, again, where he was coming from in the time that he missed, just like I said during the week. So just wanting to be patient, and it's hard when you want him out there, but we owe that to the person, to the player. And I thought he came in today and did some good things. A big hit on the sideline. Yeah.
How much of a spark was Michael Hoyt?
Yeah, good to have him. It really is. He's a tone setter for us, and he walked in. I think we talked Monday or so, and it's just great. He's a leader in his own way, and even though he's only been here just now one game, in theory, and he understands how the game's played. So just a guy that we can add up front for us and gives us an edge.
Also the decision on Jordan Hancock to get him involved. It looked like mostly passing downs. You wanted him out there. Just can you take us through the strategy or philosophy of that at least?
Yeah, there's probably not anything specific other than getting him going, and he's a young player that's played nickel and safety both for us, so just getting him going a little bit and seeing what he can do, and thought he had a really good week. And these young players are going to make some mistakes, but the way that they practice, the way that they prepare, that's part of them learning how you do things. And then the veteran players helping them as well is important for us.
You mentioned did you have a conversation with Michael on Monday? You were alluding to?
I can't remember exactly, but.
Was it a conversation with him, or did he come in and maybe say something to the
No,
team,
we just talked. Yeah, I mean, Monday we had that kind of practice deal, and then I think I grabbed him off the field and just said, hey, here's some things I'm thinking about. And he was like, yeah, hey, I'm with you, whatever you want. Again, a player coming off of not having played similar to Max, but obviously a more veteran player, felt more confident that he'd be ready to go. But again, wanted to everything in moderation approach with Larry, with Michael, with Max. So I don't know the final rep counts on those in terms of how it turned out, but that was the goal.
You mentioned finishing plays. Is Greg forcing that fumble a good example?
Huge. Yeah. I mean, when Greg plays nasty football, man, he's really good. And then our defense goes up a level. So that was a big-time play right before the half there, and obviously then the half, the field goal that was missed. So big-time swing and momentum for sure. And then we get the ball after half, so that was huge.
A lot of fans observed on the broadcast that it appeared like you were maybe calling the defense. Were you? And if so, what went into that decision?
Bobby and I have done it together. We really have, and that'll continue. So Bobby's a great coach. We've done it together. We'll continue to do it together.
Why have you guys been so good coming off the bye? I think you're 9-0 with you, 8-0 with Josh. I mean,
luck.
what is it?
It's luck.
Nah, come on.
I mean, I don't know. I'd like to if I knew that I'd do that every game. But yeah, it's Lord's will, I guess. So.
Josh, thinking regarding Terrell Bernard dressing him but then not playing him?
Yeah, just kind of where we were and trying to get him freshened up. It wasn't at all. It was more medically where he was versus anything to do with him not performing it or anything like that. This was my decision only, and just felt like we needed to get him freshened up a little bit. And, and then the linebacking room overall had some, can they play, can they not play? And it came down to the wire there on who was going to be kind of the four we dressed and those that we didn't. And some of that was medically as well. So it kind of forced our hand a little bit too.
Could he have been ready like in an emergency? Is that good?
Yeah. I mean, if we that was kind of the deal. If we had to get him in there. So we got some guys nursing some injuries.
Sean, the first half, obviously James is doing what he's doing, 200-plus yards on the day. The passing game, though, especially in the first two quarters, was maybe a little slow to come around. Was there anything that you saw that was leading to that?
Just looked like we were just a little bit out of rhythm a little bit, and then I thought Josh really caught fire after that, and the value of a competitor at a high level to be able to do that is impressive, right? Josh is wired that way, and it was good to really see him come out after half and really get into a rhythm.
This week's game is presented by the BFLO store, the official retailer of the Buffalo Bills. We heard Sean McDermott talk about linebacker Terrell Bernard not playing in this one due to an ankle injury. McDermott said it was a medical decision. He didn't like where he was at. Bernard wasn't the only linebacker who didn't play in this matchup. You have another starting linebacker in Matt Milano who had a pec injury and was labeled as questionable for this game, did not go. Defensive tackle Ed Oliver comes out of this game with a bicep injury. We're not sure on the status of that one yet, but the defense continues to feel these injuries as you get guys back. More guys come off the field. It's really tough to do the job, but the fact that they allowed just 9 points today, I think, says a lot about the physicality Sean McDermott wanted out of them.
Yeah, you saw a lot of Dorian Williams. You saw a lot of Joe Andreessen.
And Shaq Thompson.
And I was kind of hoping against hope that Shaq Thompson would have a chance to play.
Exactly.
You knew that guy was going to come in there with a chip on his shoulder the size of the stadium. Let's go. They drafted him. He played for 10 years there, had an injury last year. Now he's a Buffalo Bill. To get a chance to go back in, he was a team captain today. Let's go. You knew that was kind of going to happen, right? And he showed up big. That run game and run defense was big in this game. Dorian Williams and Joe Andreessen made some plays out there and acquitted themselves extremely well, too. This was a run game that has been cooking in the last month. I mean, cooking with grease.
Averaging 195 rushing yards per game.
They were crushing it. So you go in there and you got 2 new guys on the defense. You know, there's a lot of question marks in Buffalo. Now, certainly some of those question marks got answered. Yes, they're good enough. It was going to be good enough. But Shaq Thompson, Joe Andreessen, Dorian Williams, guys who've been in and out of the lineup, up and down off the practice squad, and Shaq being a guy who's only been here a year. How's it going to look? Man, it looked great. They had a big answer for the Carolina running game, and it didn't matter whether Rico Dowdle was the guy or Chuba Hubbard was the guy. They showed up big. Now, Andy Dalton didn't give him any help. He was not as big a threat in the passing game, and perhaps we may never know. Perhaps the defense didn't run their full repertoire of plays. You know, maybe Bobby Babich didn't call some defenses knowing that Andy Dalton wasn't going to hurt him by running the ball, or he wasn't going to scramble out of there and hurt him. Plus, it started to get good to him on the pass rush. He probably started sending more after him. So that probably changed it a little bit all the way around. But to start this game the way they did in the run game and get a 3-and-out right out of the gate was huge. I thought it was a huge tone setter. And those linebackers, man, they showed up. They showed up. I know, you know, Bills fans were like, well, Milano's out. Now Terrell Bernard's out. We're done. You know, it's gonna show. We're not gonna be able to stop the run, all that, and they just wouldn't let it happen. Congratulations to the defense. They really put in a stellar performance today.
Shaq Thompson also deserves his flowers because on that AJ Epenesa interception, you saw at the line of scrimmage, Thompson was pointing to something, and the entire defense moves as the ball is being snapped. AJ Epenesa grabs the interception. So the defense did their homework. They knew what was going to happen, and it results in an interception. Again, you can't say enough about these linebackers stepping up and playing good defense. They allowed just 114 rushing yards to a rushing offense that was averaging 193 rushing yards per game since week 5. This was a rushing defense coming into this game that was one of the bottom rushing defenses in the league. This is a big performance by the rushing defense overall, and I think something you can definitely build off of because next week the Bills take on the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Where does Buffalo go from here?
Well, they've got to build on this, no question about it. They've got to force Kansas City to bear up to stop the run. I think we made a big deal, and it's right to do so. You don't win many NFL games completing 12 passes. I don't believe you're going to be able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs completing 12 passes. And so they're going to have to step it up in the passing game and use that to their advantage. I don't think Pat Mahomes is going to turn it over 3 times the way Andy Dalton did. He had 2 fumbles and an interception, the Epenesa interception. He was not good in this. One of the fumbles was not, and he had another play where the snap hit his running back's arm because the guy misaligned himself. That had nothing to do with Andy Dalton, but it still cost him a play. So the Carolina Panthers were not hitting on all cylinders today. The Bills took advantage of it and lumped them up pretty good, as a good team should. But this team they're facing this week in the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to have to hit on all cylinders and do some special things on offense in every aspect of your, not just the running game with the 216 yards for James Cook. You're going to have Josh throwing it 30 times and completing 25 of them anyway. And that's what it takes to beat a team like the Chiefs. We know that Bills Mafia knows better than anybody what it takes to beat Kansas City. Nobody's beaten them more than the Bills fans, than the Bills have, Josh Allen. You just can't get it done in the playoffs. The regular season, we've had some success against them. Maybe it'll be the reverse this year. They beat us this week and we beat them in the playoffs, right? That's fine, yeah. If you can guarantee it, I'll take it. But it is going to be one of those weeks where you're going to have to clean everything up in order to beat the Chiefs. The way the Chiefs played this last weekend was outstanding in every facet of their game. You're going to have to match that.
Josh Allen said there's a lot we can clean up from this win. Good thing they got the victory, and this week they can use the practices to clean things up to get ready for a talented Kansas City Chiefs team who's coming to Highmark Stadium for a 4 o'clock kick next Sunday, Week 9. We want to thank you for tuning into Bills Postgame Live. For Steve Tasker, I'm Maddy Glab. We'll see you next week.